next, it's a myth that's got a lot of people hot under the collar.
Okay, Tori, so you've heard of global warming, right?
Yeah.
Well, some people think that carbon emissions are increasing the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere and raising the Earth's temperature, therefore causing the polar ice caps to melt, and that's not good.
What you're saying is maybe we should test to see if CO2 does increase the temperature in our environment.
And while we're at it, I think we should test some other gases to see if they're also contributing.
Many people remain unconvinced that CO2 and other greenhouse gases are causing the Earth to warm up. It's a hotbed of controversy, a controversy that the young scientists want to resolve right here, right now.
What's the plan? How are we going to test this?
Well, I think we should build a series of greenhouses. We'll fill them with our different greenhouse gases, put some ice inside, and see if it has an effect on the ice melting.
That sounds great. But you know what might be kind of cool is instead of just ice, we do ice sculptures. But I don't think I'm going to be able to do 4 exact sculptures. So what I'll do is I'll make a little maquette, we'll have it scanned into the computer, and we'll use a CNC machine to make duplicate ice sculptures.
And while you're doing that, I'll get to work on the greenhouses.
The plan, build identical greenhouse boxes, put identical ice sculptures in each, add measured quantities of CO2 and methane, and see what happens. To help them out, Discovery Channel's Young Scientist of the Year. At just 11, Eric Gustafson's the ultimate pocket rocket scientist.
Now, are you familiar with global warming?
The fossil fuels are made up of strings of hydrocarbons, and when you burn them, they release many different greenhouse gases, mainly carbon dioxide and methane.
Eric's got it down, but for the rest of us, well, here's a graphic. Light waves from the sun travel through the atmosphere and are absorbed by the Earth's surface, warming it up in the process. That heat is then radiated from the surface back to the atmosphere, where gases like CO2 absorb it and in turn heat up, increasing the warmth of our environment. At least, that's the theory. But back to business, measuring up for the greenhouses.
Scotty, I think I have all of the marks now.
And organize in the little piles.
Yeah. I have number 1s, number 2s, number 3s.
Perfect. I better keep you around.
Next, they frame it all up and turn the back into a heat trap.
The reason we're painting it black is because it'll absorb more heat and more light and re-emit it as a longer wavelength, and that's the whole reason the greenhouse effect works.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah?
Here's $20. I want you to go paint Adam's car now.
Really?
Be a good boy.
The greenhouses are covered in mylar, so the light gets in, but the gases don't get out. Then they seal the seam with silicone.
All right, Eric, so our first box is complete.
Yep.
Thanks for your help. I'm going to knock out the next 3. Why don't you go help Tori with the ice sculpture?
Okay.
Well, that's a move that takes Eric from the greenhouse to the madhouse.
So, Eric, you've seen the show, right?
Yep.
You know what's in this box, right?
No.
This is a block of C4. You're going to sculpt Adam out of C4, and at the end of the episode, we're going to blow it up. You got to be careful because it's very volatile. I mean, if you drop it, it could go off.
Okay.
So be careful. Take it slow. You don't want to peel off the wrapping too fast because it might set it off.
I'm not as sure if he's crazy or not right now, but I'd much rather have him sculpt Adam out of C4 explosive.
And here's the mission. Tori will mold a Jamie doll, Eric, and Adam doll. And the best-looking one will be the model for their ice sculptures.
Isn't working on Mythbusters fun?
Sometimes. But then there are the times when you could potentially be exploded, so.
I know. It's like you got to take the good with the bad. That's what I always say.
Tori's going great guns, while Eric's handling his with kid gloves.
All right, Eric, you done?
Yep.
Okay. What do you think?
Wow, that looks just like Jamie.
That looks just like Adam. Sweet. Okay, now that they're done, why don't we scan this one, and we'll use this for the ice sculptures.
Okay.
And then we can blow that one up.
Awesome.
Yeah. For our global warming experiment, we need 4 identical ice sculptures. So we're here at Artistic Ice Design, where they're going to use their CNC machine to make us 4 ice Jamies. See the drill?
Yeah.
Carve it up, bro! Whee!
These CNC, or computer numerical control machines, are programmed to produce identical sculptures. But as for that grating din they create...
Don't you just love that sound? What's wrong, Scott?
Each sculpture takes around 40 minutes to carve. And then 4 identical Ice Jamies emerge.
Get it, America. You got it? Attaboy. No, let him. He got it. Come on, man. What are you doing? Don't drop him. Now that I have my army of Ice Jamies, I'm going to take over the world. But first, I want to see which greenhouse gases cause these ice sculptures to melt faster. Let's go, buddy. Can you guys make me one more?
The heat's on back at Ice Station Central. The greenhouses are ready, and the Jamie Ice Dolls are chilling out. But can their small-scale greenhouses back at M7 really produce a plausible greenhouse effect? The guys head off to consult an expert at UC Berkeley. And after a little demonstration showing the power of ice...
Oh, my God!
It's down to business.
So I've heard a lot about people making models to predict the future of global warming. And with all of the complicated systems on Earth, wouldn't that be a little difficult?
We can do experiments on small scales in the lab. We can make observations on a global scale. But you're right, it is hard to replicate in a 3-foot by 3-foot chamber. It's a challenge. I think it can be done, but it's a challenge to replicate that.
Challenge? That's Mythbusters' second name. And back at M7, it's time to commit the Jamies to a watery grave.
Poor Jamie's looking at you like that.
That ice-cold stare.
Try working with them all the time.
Everything has to be kept identical in this experiment.
That looks good right there. So that's 1,570 foot candles. So let's try to get all the lights so that that amount of light is going into each greenhouse.
Okay.
Accurate thermometers are essential
These thermometers measure 1/10 of a centigrade.
to make sure it all runs to plan. The guys have called in Manish Gupta, a gas monitoring expert from Los Gatos Research. The Earth's CO2 levels stand at around 350 parts per million, and methane a tiny 1,800 parts per billion. But amounts that small are no problem for this gear.
For methane, it's in the part per billion level, and for CO2 in the part per million level.
So now they can up the greenhouse gas levels in minutely accurate increments. And once the gases are in, everyone can chill out and watch ice melt.
Let's start melting some Jamies.
It's the big freeze. The temperatures have been steady in the control greenhouses, while...
The methane and the CO2 have been a degree higher consistently.
But after 3.5 hours withstanding the heat, the Jamies finally crack.
So we've let the experiment run for 4 hours, and I think from the results that we're getting, we can come to a conclusion. Both the methane and the CO2 greenhouses remained hotter than the control. Throughout the whole experiment, it looks like the gases do increase the temperature inside the greenhouses.
The CO2 greenhouse stayed steady on 24.8 degrees Celsius, the methane on 24.9, and both the controls were consistently a degree cooler.
I think that this is showing that CO2 and methane are major culprits for global warming.
All right, so the results from the global warming experiment were pretty conclusive.
Yeah, the greenhouses with carbon dioxide and methane stayed consistently warmer than the control.
Yeah, it was almost 1 degree Celsius warmer the entire time.
All right, so this one's confirmed?
Confirmed.